Hey everyone, and welcome back to another Dokkan battle video. My name is D-Free. Here today we are running the Dragon Ball Heroes team. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Hit that subscribe if you're new, of course, for more content, as well as that notification so you don't miss anything that we upload here on the channel. So that being said, you guys can see the team on the screen. Very briefly, we're going to go into a breakdown. It'll take a couple of minutes. Feel free to skip ahead. But I consider this to be one of the most synergistic and quote-unquote, best, quote-unquote, Dragon Ball Heroes variations in the game. So let's go ahead and shift over to the breakdown and kind of go over that for you guys. So starting out, we have Few here. Dragon Ball Heroes leader, 3-key, 130% to all stats. He is the best Dragon Ball Heroes category leader in the game. For the record, you can also, if you really wanted to, run like a Time Travelers team because all the units do have that, and you can actually get a little bit better stat spread if you really wanted to do that, but I'm staying true to the theme. We are staying with Dragon Ball Heroes. His super attack raises attack and defense for one turn. That is a 30% raise on super while doing immense damage and sealing the enemy's super attack. Passive skill is 150% attack and defense when performing a super, key +1 up to 4, and chance of evading the enemy's attacks, including their super attacks, plus 10% up to 40% per Time Traveler category ally on your team. He gets a 40% dodge. He has a ton of defense, a ton of attack. He seals. He does immense damage, and he has self-sufficiency with ki. He is very powerful. And by the way, I'm going to call him Few instead of Fu because the way that they pronounce it is Few, but spelled Fu. But anyways, there you go. So don't nitpick with me, please. Anyways, so briefly, I have time. So her awakening is nuts. Nuts. So her super attack massively raises defense for one turn. That is a 100. I can't even clap on beat. 100% defense raise. Supreme damage and sealing super attack. Also, all allies get 3-key and 30% attack and defense and chance of performing a critical hit plus 12%. This in of itself is already a nuts card. But that's not all. Great chance of an additional 12% attack for all allies. And another great chance of an additional 12% defense for all allies. That's a 70% chance. Each of those is individualized, so you can get 42% attack and 30% defense. You can get both, like the additional 12 on both. You can get either or, like that's the point. She has 100% defense raise. So she seals too. What's with all the sealing on this team? Goku. Goku's been touted as being the best of the bunch. I don't know if I agree with that, but a lot of people are saying it anyway. Immense damage with a high chance of stunning. Attack and defense plus 100% and guard activated against all attacks. That is the Janemba mechanic, meaning no unit in the game has type advantage versus the Goku. No AGL unit can hit him for type advantage because he'll guard against the attack. Plus an additional attack plus 50% when performing a super attack and damage received minus 7% per Dragon Ball Heroes category ally on your team up to 30%. So having the defense he does, the mitigation is just kind of, that's ridiculous. Mitigation, guards against all attacks, and defense raise is ridiculous defensive combination. He's one of the best defensive units in the game, hands down, including like every unit in the game. Anyways, so Vegeta here. Greatly raises attack for one turn, 50% raise, immense damage, and greatly lowers the enemy's defense. That is a 50% defense down. All right, passive skill, attack and defense plus 100% and disables the enemy's guard. That means that STR units will not be able to take reduced damage from the Vegeta. He will do neutral damage at least. But setting that aside, he has built-in crits anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Plus an additional 50% attack when performing a super, chance of performing a crit plus 7% per Dragon Ball Heroes category ally on the team. We have Cooler here, who raises attack indefinitely, by the way. 30% raise for 99 turns per super attack while doing immense damage. 100% attack and defense at the start of the turn, and all allies get 2-key and 20% attack and defense. He's a support unit, guys, as well. Also, he gets an additional 30% attack and defense, and launches an additional attack that has a medium chance, which is what, 25%? Yeah, 25% chance of becoming a super attack with another 3 or more Dragon Ball Heroes categories allies on your team. If you have 3 or more Dragon Ball Heroes units on your team, he gets another 30% attack and defense, and also does a guaranteed additional that has a chance to be a super attack. He can do up to 3 super attacks in a turn while always raising his attack per super. He's very reminiscent of STR Cooler because of that. So for the last unit I chose on my team, I mulled this over for about 10 minutes. I chose Sealas because versus traditional content, you're pretty much never going to transform. I mean, 5 turns isn't that bad, but by the time you do transform, you're pretty much over with the event. It's not going to really apply to this video, but he's very good. He links very well with the Scientist Few, as I call him sometimes. But not only that, he's a category ally support. So 20% attack, 1-key, also has good enough stats, and again, links pretty well. So when you look at the actual Dragon Ball Heroes category, For the record, characters that were in like global Dokkan because of their affiliation to Xenoverse, like SS3 Bardock, Mass Saiyan, that should be here by all means, are not. They're not in this category. I don't know if they retroactively add them, but they're not, which does hinder some of the viability of this category. And it felt like this category was kind of all over the place with some things that they wanted. Like the new Gohanks and Vegix Gotenks, those cards are all cool. Meh, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to have to inflict a status down. Then the older SSRs, like Goku and Vegeta family supports, that's cool, but not really going to run that. And then you come to Cumber, who's also really good, but I felt like in the video I had no spot for Cumber because of his link spread. And the way that he works doesn't really synergize too much with the video that I'm trying to do for you guys here. So that being said, we're going to go ahead and get right into it. So I hope you guys enjoy, have fun, and let's get started here. So Cooler is going to get the first attack. We are taking on Infinite Dragon Ball history, and yes, I know traditionally they will be trying to absorb my attacks. That's perfectly fine, though. Cooler's attack will get absorbed. He'll do a guaranteed additional. Hopefully it's a super attack, by the way, and hopefully we get that other additional super attack from the potential system as well. That's not an additional super. We didn't get the third attack either, so there we go. So here's something fun about this unit. His additional super attacks scale him so high because of the way he is built. The Few card is crazy. He's really good. So I don't know if he'll actually reach these peaks, but with the Cooler and Supreme Kai of Time rotation, I've had him over 2.6 million attack on this team. And do not forget that this is, yes, you guessed it, again, a 130% leader skill boost. This is not 170. When you're seeing these attack and defensive numbers, this is not 170 across the board. This is 130 across the board. This Vegeta's at, what, 2 million? Without even being on his best rotation on a 130 team, right? He's over 2.1 now because the attack raise on super. Like, these units are so ridiculously good, it doesn't make any sense. All of them. All of the new units are really good. And the only ones I'm a little sketchy on, like I mentioned, is the fusion ones because they're good. It's just like you can't inflict those status ailments versus most content in the game. It's just a really bad design choice. Cumber is the best unit I think that's not on my team. And also shout-outs to Trunks and Gohan because they're also in that list as well. But I didn't feel like running nothing but Saiyans, and I wanted to have rotations like this where I can like really rely on these units. I'd say based on my representation as far as like what I've done with these characters, I'm honestly most impressed with the synergy in general, like the support, all that stuff. They're so self-sufficient because of all the ki they have, and just it's good, man. But I'd say the one I'm most impressed with is honestly Few. He is really powerful if he gets additional. So like he's at 2 million on this rotation. If I get this card, and especially if I get him with dupes, I'm going full rainbow, man. That's what I'm doing. Not full rainbow, full additional on him. I don't care about crits. I just want to see that attack stat, that defense stat through the roof. His only issue is that he can't really like defend himself beforehand unless he gets a dodge. You know, he'd have to be kind of lucky to get that dodge. Unless he gets that, he can't really defend himself so well beforehand. But that's kind of it. So like he's fine regardless. So here we finally have the SS3 boys linked up together. Here's the stat spread for them. About 80k defense for Vegeta. It actually matters a lot more on Vegeta what the defensive number is than it does on Goku, of course, because Goku, as you guys know, does have access to mitigation. Why did they give him mitigation? You know, the funny thing is I almost feel like the Goku should have got like more offense because his defense was fine with the defense raise and the guard against all attacks. His offensive numbers, honestly, did not really change too much from his pre-awaken. Like, that attack stat is not that... Okay, well, actually it is, because, again, 130. I got to surprise myself there. Because I remember the pre-awaken getting about 1.3, 1.4 million in that area on SS3, which is the 170 attack lead. So, okay, it did go up a good bit, actually. But still, like, I feel like maybe he should have got that. The Vegeta's a funny unit because the Vegeta has stuff like, oh, disables guard, but also, oh, built-in crits. Oh, also defense down, which defense down admittedly is not really relevant versus most content in the game. But it's just kind of like he's got a lot of, like, they gave him everything related to doing more damage. And they all kind of step over each other. Because crits bypass type disadvantage in defense anyway, right? The disabling of guard gets rid of that to where you at least do neutral. He's at 2.2. Come on, additional super. Like, he also has a defense down and just like a lot of stuff like that, man. It's really funny how they built him. Not knocking him at all. Not a criticism. I just think that's really funny how it's like all kind of the same thing. Not really, but kind of, right? Anyways, guys, if you guys are enjoying, do your boy solid, hit the thumbs up. Does help out here on the channel a good bit. So Sealas is actually going to transform. The funny thing is, post-transformation, he's still one of the better units from this category anyway. So I don't feel bad about running him. But I don't love at all when units completely change their playstyle post-transformation. And what I mean by that, if we shift back over here, what I mean by that is he's 3-key and 60% now for himself. 100% defense down is good. Like, well, 80%, excuse me, versus the Goku event, but whatever. And then he gets 120 when performing a super. He actually picks up Big Bad, which is not something I don't think I can get on this team. But yeah, oh, by the way, something I forgot to mention is, for this guy, he's got some very powerful attack and defense links. Pretty much his best buddy, though, will be his SSR, because you can run him on the team because he's not super. So do keep that in mind. I chose not to run him because I didn't want too much overlap. But yeah, there's, like, this team is really interesting. And if you really think about the synergy, it's just like, man, there's some good units in here, but I just couldn't bring myself to use, like, half of them. I don't feel like using Great Saiyan Man. I don't feel like using the other Great Saiyan Man. It obviously depends what you have or what you don't have. But, like, it just kind of was really, like, I really mulled it over and thought about how I was constructing this team for a solid, like, 5 or 6, maybe even, like, 10 minutes or so, like I might have mentioned earlier. It just took a while to really consider how I wanted the final setup to be. Now, I do think there's an avenue in here where, like, versus a shorter event like SBR, where, like, if you're going to use Sealas, you transform at pretty much the very tail end of the event, and you're pretty much over. I think there's an avenue in here where you can run something like not even using the SS3s, which sounds weird, but you can run and just rely on Cooler, Sealas, and the double Few. So, like, having Few, Cooler on one rotation, then Sealas and Few on the other rotation, or Fu if you guys really want to nitpick. You probably have been nitpicking the whole time. You could do something like that and you'll be fine, right? Or you can even go and just run those other ones as off-rotation units and throw in a more defense-oriented setup like SS3 Goku and SS3 Trunks. Like, this team... So, like, it's funny to say if you're not a vet, like, or you don't have to be a vet, but if you're not, like, super familiar with Dokkan, it's funny to say that the Peppy Gals team, which is like a team with all the super niche characters like Lunch from the Japanese version. Anyways, like Lunch there, Supreme Kai of Time, who's gonna be nuts on the Realm of Gods, by the way. Like, she's gonna be ridiculous. She's like the best support in the game now. I'm not even talking about her. She's crazy good. How does she get 100% defense up on super? Like, come on now. Anyways, Peppy Gals. Actually, I don't think she's in Peppy. She might be. Let me double check because my OCD's going to go crazy. She is not. Okay, so never mind. But Peppy Gals, for the 4th time, having like Rubrienne, like it's the category that has all those characters, right? But they design those characters in such a powerful way because they clearly almost never decided or wanted to give them a powerful leader skill. They don't have leader skills as powerful as some of these other top teams, but they're still ridiculously broken. They have that Tech Caulifla that can dodge indefinitely versus a lot of events in the game. She'll never get hit a single time. It's not a chance. She will never get hit versus like Universe Survival, I believe also Pure Saiyans. It's crazy, right? So I brought all that up to say is like that team is broken. The units on that category are broken, and if they're under 170% leaders, they'd be some of the best cards in the game in general, right? This category isn't to that degree, but boy, is it close. Like, I'm really impressed with a lot of these units. The design choice is completely A+ for me. Like, I love what they did with a lot of these units. We're going to get the Dokkan attack with Fu here. But yeah, I'm a huge fan of the design choice for these units, for the most part. Aside from the fusions, I feel like they got shafted. But you know what? I will say, there's some Dragon Ball Heroes units. They drop these in, like, bunches because this is pretty much an annual once-a-year banner. But there's some Dragon Ball Heroes units like Mass Saiyan and Dark Mass King, and they're doing, I don't want to say that restricted stuff, but they have some restrictions too. They're good units, but they need an awakening, right? So I'm really hoping that next year, Vegix, Gohanks, and that Gotenks, and also the Dark Mass King, and also King Vegeta, I don't know, the Vegeta, like those cards pick up their awakenings so we can really see what they'll be, man. Because this category has like really high-end options to where I don't see much of a point in ever using those cards. But again, if you need to use them, you can. But like, I don't see much of a point. And I didn't even talk about the units that awoken, what, 6 months ago? The Bobbidi Boo is a really good defensive support, sometimes offensive. Super Pycon is a very solid unit defensively in terms of like lowering the enemy's attack and stuff like that and having good natural stats there. Also, we had Baby Janemba and also Toa. You can't really use Toa so much here. I guess you can. You can make use of Toa, actually, because there's a lot of villains here. Toa is actually perfectly fine for this team. You can go with a full villain variant and run Toa just fine. She's extreme class ally support. Yeah, you'd be just fine if you're on Toa. Like, there's a lot, really. I'm really impressed with this category team. All right, so let's go ahead and we have another opportunity here. I'm going to give him the attack. Let's see the attack stat. Hopefully he goes double. I don't think he even has the opportunity to do double. I think he'll just pretty much one-shot. Cooler's at 133,000 defense, by the way, with this setup. That's extra high. I want to point out that when it comes to this guy here and the Supreme Kai, because they raise defense so much, the number you see from them in terms of looking at their stats is nowhere near what it actually is like mid-turn after they've launched in Super, because we can't retroactively see and like pause the turn in the middle of the turn to see the actual stats of what the units are capable of. Like 100% defense raise, what if she was showing like, what, 60,000? What if she gets 2 of those? She'll get that raise twice, but we'll never be able to see that actual number. Obviously, you know, mathematicians out there can do the calculations and know what the number is, but we can't, as players, pause and see. So that's one thing I wanted to point out when it comes to those units, because they're actually a lot better than they appear to be based on what we can see in the game. So anyways, we're going to play through a couple more phases, and that'll be about it. And again, I don't want to sleep on Sealas. He's very good. And I also don't want to sleep on Cumber. I think Cumber's very good, but I think he'd be better in like a more Saiyan-oriented version of this team. And that'd be about it, where you don't run this guy as a main rotation unit. That's the thing. I decided I would be running this Few as a main rotation unit, which completely changes the entire layout of what you can do in terms of what the team wants to be. Because Cumber has those Saiyan links, and it's not going to work out too well. Whereas the rotation with this guy and Cooler is pretty powerful, especially because Cooler is a support unit. That's one of the biggest factors. Cooler being a support unit too was crazy powerful for this team. And also, like, people were saying Cooler should have been like a Wicked Bloodline support. No. He can still be on that team and still be pretty much just as good. He won't get the additional part of the passive, but he will still be at a position where he raises attack indefinitely, supports himself and his allies, and still gets a powerful side of the turn boost. Like, there's a lot really going on there that you have to account for and take advantage of when it comes to that team setup. So anyways, we're going to play this turn. I think that'll be the conclusion. All right, so with the support and stuff, these guys' defense did go up a little bit higher. Vegeta's defense gets just shy at about 92 of 100K. So overall, pretty good numbers. So anyways, thank you all for tuning in. I hope you guys enjoyed today's Dragon Ball Z Dokkan Battle video. If you did, remember, hit that thumbs up. It does help out big time here on the channel. And leave me a comment down below what you guys think of the team. Anything I said in the video that you kind of disagree with, whatever the case is, let me know. We'll talk about it. Have an awesome day, everyone, and I'll catch all of you guys in the next one. Peace.